This past week was all about what lies ahead, both for our medical school and the Commonwealth at large. At our institution, we're mobilizing for a measured ramp-up of our research enterprise, and across Massachusetts, there are increasing discussions about the prospects for returning to work and to school. While most of these planning meetings were conducted by teleconference or Zoom, it was refreshing to have a couple of in-person meetings in my office, with appropriate social distancing and mask wearing, of course. As I was thinking about this week's message, I could not help but reflect on how much has changed over the last 10 weeks. I kept coming back to how our interactions and modes of communication have been profoundly altered. On a Zoom call with many leaders, I noted that more than half of the attendees had their video blocked. While being polite and muting so that their audio would not disturb those speaking, I observed how difficult it was to really know what people were thinking when I couldn't see their faces. I missed the grin or the smirk, the raised eyebrow or the frown, the look of concern or the indication of consent. I asked folks to turn on their videos and immediately noted that the meetings became much more productive. Now, I will admit that one of the benefits of so many Zoom calls has been the opportunity to meet so many of our colleagues' children. Finished or bored with school, anxious for a snack or to go outside, seeking the permission to play video games or to watch television, many children have carefully snuck into view of their parents' Zoom meetings. I cannot help but chuckle when I see the startled look on the face of the parents, who almost instantaneously either turn off their video or send stern warnings via facial expressions to warn their children that this was no time to interrupt. More importantly, those Zoom interruptions have brought me joy. Startled looks quickly gave way to panicked expressions when I took the opportunity to engage their children in conversation. During these entertaining exchanges, we have reviewed the schoolwork of the day, explored the order of the U.S. presidents by name, and been shown missing teeth or the tooth fairy's gifts. I told one 6-year-old that I would speak about him this week. So Declan, thanks for the visit, and here's to you. During one of my office meetings, I expressed how difficult it has been not to be able to see the face of the person with whom I was meeting. In fact, I commented that from the car to the office and back, I don the mask and greet those whom I pass. But many times, I am not sure who is on the other side of that mask, and I wonder if they know it's me. As I wave to colleagues walking down the hallway, I'm sure many are thinking, who the heck is that waving to me? In learning about a very difficult decision that needed to be made for a patient, I heard a story this week about a conversation with a patient's family member. The clinician told me that a young man had become ill with COVID-19 and had experienced a most complicated course. The end was near, and the patient's wife had come to say goodbye. Wearing a mask, gown, and gloves, she approached her husband's room. She found it difficult to go beyond the glass door, as she did not want to risk infecting her children when she returned home. She decided just to sit outside the door to say goodbye. She placed her hand on the glass in a plaintive attempt to come as close as possible to touching the hand of her loved one. All that could be seen were her eyes as the tears disappeared behind her mask. In hearing about that moment, I wondered how difficult that experience must have been. there could be no final hug or kiss. The wearing of the mask even prevented a blown kiss or mouthing of the words, "I love you." We have experienced so much emotion, fear, and concern over these past 10 weeks. Now, we have reached what I am calling the impatient phase of this pandemic. We are impatient with staying inside, especially in good weather. We are impatient with being unable to see family and friends, particularly grandchildren and grandparents. We are impatient with so little known about the future course of testing, the return to work or school, and the prospect that life can become like it was. Frankly, we are impatient about most things, and understandably so. But as we learn about the course to return from Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and others early this week, I would like to caution us about too much impatience. We have adapted and stayed home, worn masks, and been distant from those we love in our determination to deny the virus what it wants most, the chance to continue to thrive by moving from one person to another. As we ramp up our return efforts, we must not become impatient with the need to deprive this virus of its greatest advantage, our carelessness, our contempt for safety measures, or our avoidance of science and fact in the creation of our return plans. As we begin to come back to work in our research laboratories this week, much thought and planning has gone into the development of and the principles and practices that have been established. I am grateful that so many have worked so hard to assure that our buildings will be safe as possible, and that measures have been implemented to reduce the risk of giving the virus what it wants, the ability to spread. Each of us will need to continue to be vigilant and respectful. Where possible, we will need to continue to meet by Zoom. Each time we leave our homes and throughout each day, we will need to assess and report any symptoms, wear our masks, and maintain distance as a sign of respect for each other and for the virus. As I said last week, my mother would say, "First you have to want to, then you can." We can serve as a model for how to safely and effectively return to work. And with your help and cooperation, I know that other institutions will benefit from the actions we undertake in the days and weeks ahead. I want you to know that I am positive that we can and will contain this virus and develop a vaccine. We can adapt to new forms of communication and balance our family needs and responsibilities with our work duties. We can find ways to let others know that we are smiling behind our masks and that we care for and about those for whom it is our privilege to care and with whom it is our privilege to work. I look forward to more conversations with Declan and all the children of employees I have talked to during the past 10 weeks. And I especially look forward to seeing so many of our community members who will be returning to campus over the next several weeks. There is much to do in health education and research. Together, we can and will make a difference in our community and throughout the world. Together, we will assure that UMass Medical School's best days lie ahead. Thank you for all that you continue to do on behalf of our great public medical school.